There are moments in history when someone stands before us and delivers words so powerful, so transformative, that they ripple through time and touch the lives of millions. Steve Jobs gave us one of those extraordinary moments. And what made his message so electrifying wasn't just the words he spoke, but the profound truth that lived behind every single sentence. Here was a man who had stared into the abyss, who had confronted his own mortality, and emerged with a clarity that most people never achieve in their entire lifetime. When you really listen to what he said, when you strip away all the noise and distraction of daily life and truly absorb his message, you realize he wasn't just giving a commencement speech. He was handing us a blueprint for living. He was sharing the deepest wisdom that only comes from walking through fire and coming out the other side transformed. And the most beautiful thing about his words is that they apply to every single one of us, regardless of where we are in life, what we do, or what dreams we're chasing. Let me ask you something right now, and I want you to really think about this. How much of your life are you actually living? Not just going through the motions, not just checking boxes, not just doing what you're supposed to do, but genuinely, authentically living. Because there's a massive difference between existing and living, between occupying space and making an impact, between breathing and truly being alive. Steve Jobs understood this distinction better than almost anyone who has ever lived. Think about the courage it takes to truly follow your heart. We live in a world that constantly tells us to play it safe, to follow the well-worn path, to do what's expected, to fit into the mold that society has created for us. From the moment we're born, we're being programmed with other people's expectations, other people's definitions of success, other people's dreams. And somewhere along the way, we lose touch with that inner voice that knows what we're really meant to do. Your parents have expectations. Your teachers have expectations. Your friends have expectations. Society has expectations. And all of these voices, well-intentioned as they may be, create this deafening chorus that drowns out the one voice that actually matters, the voice inside you that knows your truth, that understands your unique purpose, that sees the path you're meant to walk. Steve Jobs reminded us that following that inner voice requires tremendous courage. It means you're going to disappoint people. Let me say that again, because it's so important. You're going to disappoint people. You're going to make choices that others don't understand. You're going to pursue dreams that seem crazy to people who have settled for less. You're going to zigzag when everyone expects you to follow a straight line. And that's not just okay. That's absolutely necessary if you want to create something meaningful with your life. You see, the problem with living according to other people's expectations is that you can do it perfectly. You can check every box. You can follow every rule and still arrive at the end of your life feeling empty. Because you weren't living your life, you were living someone else's version of what your life should be. And there's no greater tragedy than that, no bigger waste of the incredible gift of human potential than spending decades pursuing someone else's dream. Now, let's talk about failure for a moment, because this is where Jobs' message becomes even more powerful. He didn't just succeed, he failed spectacularly. He got fired from his own company. Can you imagine that? The very company he founded, the baby he nurtured from nothing into something extraordinary, turned around and pushed him out. Most people would have been destroyed by that. Most people would have given up, become bitter, spent the rest of their lives complaining about how unfair it was. But Jobs did something completely different. He looked at that devastating failure and eventually recognized it as one of the best things that ever happened to him. Now, he didn't see it that way immediately. Nobody does. When you're in the middle of a crisis, when everything is falling apart, you can't see the gift hidden inside the catastrophe. But looking back, connecting the dots, he realized that getting fired freed him to enter one of the most creative periods of his life. It stripped away the pressure of being successful and gave him the freedom to be a beginner again, to explore, to experiment, to rediscover his passion. This is such a crucial lesson. Your failures, your setbacks, your disappointments, they're not the end of your story. They're often the beginning of your greatest chapter. But you have to be willing to stay in the game. You have to be willing to trust that somehow, some way, these experiences are preparing you for something bigger. The dots will connect looking backward, even though you can't see how they'll connect while you're living forward. Every experience you're having right now, even the painful ones, especially the painful ones, they're shaping you. They're teaching you. They're adding tools to your toolkit. They're building character and resilience and wisdom that you'll need for the next phase of your journey. But you have to trust the process. You have to believe that your current struggle is not pointless, that your pain has purpose, that your setbacks are setups for future comebacks. Steve Jobs talked about death, and I know that's an uncomfortable topic for most people. We like to avoid thinking about our mortality. We like to pretend we have unlimited time, that we can always pursue our dreams tomorrow, that there's no urgency to living authentically right now. But Jobs understood something profound. He understood that death is the single best invention of life. It's life's change agent. It clears out the old to make way for the new. When you truly internalize the fact that you're going to die, that your time here is finite, that one day you'll take your last breath, and that will be it, everything changes. Suddenly, all the petty concerns that consume so much of our energy become irrelevant. The fear of what others think, the worry about embarrassment, the concern about failing, it all fades away because you realize that the only real failure is not trying, not risking, not putting yourself out there while you still have the chance. Living with death in mind is not morbid, it's liberating. It's the ultimate tool for making important life decisions. When you ask yourself, if today were my last day, would I want to do what I'm about to do? And the answer is no for too many days in a row. You know something needs to change. You know you're not living in alignment with your truth. You know you're settling, compromising, playing small. And here's the thing about time that most people don't fully grasp until it's too late. It's the one resource you can never get back. You can make more money. You can rebuild relationships. You can recover from failure. But time, once it's gone forever. Every single day that passes is a day you'll never see again. Every moment you spend living someone else's life is a moment you're not living your own. The clock is ticking for all of us, and it's not stopping. So what are you waiting for? What's holding you back from pursuing what truly matters to you? Is it fear? Is it the opinions of others? Is it the comfort of the familiar? Is it the illusion of security? Because let me tell you something about security. It's mostly an illusion. The people who think they're playing it safe, who think they're protecting themselves by staying in jobs they hate or relationships that don't serve them or situations that slowly kill their spirit, they're not actually safe. They're slowly dying inside, trading their dreams for a false sense of security that can be taken away at any moment. The only real security comes from knowing that you can trust yourself, that you have the resilience to handle whatever life throws at you, that you're willing to bet on yourself even when nobody else will. That's where true confidence comes from. Not from avoiding failure, but from knowing you can handle it. Not from playing it safe, but from taking risks and surviving them. Jobs talked about staying hungry and staying foolish, and these might be the most important words he ever spoke. Stay hungry means never being satisfied with where you are. It means always pushing, always growing, always striving for more. Not more in the material sense necessarily, but more in terms of impact, contribution, growth, and evolution. It means keeping that fire alive inside you, that drive to create something meaningful, to leave your mark on the world. Stay foolish means being willing to take risks that seem crazy to others. It means not being so smart and sophisticated and practical that you lose your ability to dream big. It means maintaining a beginner's mind, staying open to possibilities, being willing to look stupid in pursuit of something great. Because every innovation, every breakthrough, every world-changing idea seemed foolish to someone at first. Think about the people who have made the biggest impact on our world. They weren't the ones who played it safe and followed the rules. They were the ones who questioned everything, who challenged conventional wisdom, who were willing to be laughed at and criticized and told they were crazy. They stayed foolish enough to believe they could change the world and hungry enough to actually do the work required to make it happen. Now, let's talk about passion, because this is absolutely central to Jobs' message. He built his life around doing what he loved. And I'm not talking about some casual interest or hobby. I'm talking about finding that thing that makes you come alive. That thing you would do even if nobody paid you. That thing that makes you lose track of time because you're so absorbed in it. Too many people think passion is something you find like it's buried somewhere waiting to be discovered. But passion is something you develop through engagement and commitment. You find something interesting, you dive deep into it, you get good at it, and through that process, passion develops. Jobs wasn't born passionate about computers. He became passionate about them through exploration and discovery and seeing the possibilities they represented. The question is not what are you passionate about as if it's some fixed thing waiting to be identified. The question is, what are you curious about? What draws your attention? What problems do you want to solve? What impact do you want to make? Follow those threads. Explore them. Give yourself permission to be curious without knowing where it's going to lead. And here's something else that's crucial to understand. Loving what you do doesn't mean every day is easy or fun or exciting. Jobs loved his work, but he also faced enormous challenges, devastating setbacks, grueling hours, and massive stress. Loving what you do means the struggle is worth it. It means you're willing to endure the difficulties because the work itself matters to you. It means on your worst day, you'd still rather be doing this than something else. One of the most powerful aspects of Jobs' message is about trusting that the dots will connect. You can't connect the dots looking forward. You can only connect them looking backward. So you have to trust that somehow they will connect in the future. You have to trust something, your gut, destiny, life karma, whatever, because believing that the dots will connect down the road will give you the confidence to follow your heart, even when it leads you off the well-worn path. This is so important because we live in a culture obsessed with planning, with having everything figured out, with knowing exactly where we're going before we take the first step. But life doesn't work that way. The most important opportunities, the most meaningful experiences, the biggest breakthroughs, they rarely happen according to plan. They emerge from what seems like chaos and confusion and randomness. When Jobs took that calligraphy class, he had no idea it would influence the design of the Macintosh years later. When he was fired from Apple, he couldn't see that it would free him to create Pixar, and next and ultimately returned to Apple to do his greatest work. The dots only made sense looking backward. but he had to trust enough to keep moving forward, to keep exploring, to keep following his curiosity and intuition. Your life is the same way. You're collecting experiences right now that will serve you in ways you can't imagine. You're learning lessons that will make sense later. You're building skills and knowledge and relationships that will connect in unexpected ways. But you have to keep moving. You have to keep exploring. You have to trust the process even when you can't see where it's leading. Let me tell you something about regret, because this is what Jobs was really warning us about. At the end of your life, you're not going to regret the things you tried and failed at. You're going to regret the things you never tried. You're going to regret the dreams you buried. You're going to regret the chances you didn't take. You're going to regret playing small when you could have played big. The people who work with dying patients, who sit with them in their final days and hear their deepest regrets, they all report the same patterns. People don't regret working less or being less ambitious. They regret not having the courage to live a life true to themselves. They regret living according to others' expectations. They regret not expressing their feelings. They regret losing touch with friends. They regret not allowing themselves to be happier. Notice what's missing from that list. Nobody says, I wish I'd played it safer. And nobody says, I wish I'd taken fewer risks. Nobody says, I wish I'd worried more about what others thought. The regrets are always about not living fully, not loving completely, not taking chances, not being authentic. So here's what I want you to understand. Right now, today, you have a choice. You can continue living the way you've been living, following the script that was handed to you, playing it safe, keeping everyone comfortable, avoiding risks, settling for less than you're capable of. Or you can make a different choice. You can decide that your life is too precious, too short, too valuable to waste on anything less than what truly matters to you. This doesn't mean you have to quit your job tomorrow, or blow up your life, or do anything dramatic. It means you start making small shifts toward alignment. It means you start listening to that inner voice a little more, and the external voices a little less. It means you start prioritizing what actually matters over what seems urgent. It means you start building a life that reflects your values, your passions, your unique gifts. And yes, this is going to be uncomfortable. Growth is always uncomfortable. Change is always scary. But you know what's even more uncomfortable? Living with the growing sense that you're wasting your life. Feeling that knowing dissatisfaction that comes from knowing you're capable of more, but settling for less. Reaching the end of your life and realizing you never really lived it. Steve Jobs didn't have all the answers. Nobody does. But he understood something fundamental about what it means to live a meaningful life. He understood that time is precious, that conformity is a trap, that passion is essential, that failure is a teacher, that death gives life meaning, and that the only way to do great work is to love what you do. Your life is your message to the world. What do you want that message to be? What do you want to be remembered for? What impact do you want to have? These aren't small questions. These are the most important questions you'll ever ask yourself. And the answers won't come from outside you. They're already inside you, waiting for you to be brave enough to listen. The world needs what you have to offer. It needs your unique perspective, your specific gifts, your particular combination of experiences and skills and passions. But the world can't receive what you have to offer if you never give it. The world can't benefit from your potential if you never develop it. The world can't be changed by your dreams if you never pursue them. So make the decision right now. Not tomorrow, not next week, not when the conditions are perfect, because they never will be. Right now. Decide that you're going to live your life on your terms. Decide that you're going to follow your heart and trust your intuition. Decide that you're going to stay hungry and stay foolish. Decide that you're going to make your life count. Because here's the beautiful truth that Jobs understood and wanted us to understand. You don't need permission to pursue your dreams. You don't need perfect circumstances. You don't need everyone to understand or support you. You just need courage, commitment, and the willingness to keep going even when it's hard. Your time is limited, so don't waste it living someone else's life. Don't be trapped by dogma, which is living with the results of other people's thinking. Don't let the noise of others' opinions drown out your own inner voice. And most important, have the courage to follow your heart and intuition. They somehow already know what you truly want to become. Everything else is secondary. This is your life. This is your one shot. This is your opportunity to create something meaningful, to leave a legacy, to make a difference. Don't let it slip away while you're waiting for the perfect moment or the right conditions or everyone's approval. Perfect moment is now. The right conditions are the ones you create, and the only approval you need is your own. Stay hungry. Stay foolish. Follow your heart. Trust the journey. Embrace the failures. Learn the lessons. Keep moving forward. And never, ever settle for anything less than what makes you come alive. Because when you're living aligned with your truth, when you're pursuing what truly matters to you, when you're making an impact in your own unique way, that's when life becomes extraordinary. That's when you stop existing and start living. That's when you create the kind of legacy that outlives you. The choice is yours. It's always been yours. What are you going to do with it?